Frisco's in my systems to win by 8, 12.5, 9.5, 9, 12.5, and 7. Okay? Now, what I did was on two of my systems, and it's not what I sent you, I got Frisco to win by 2.5, and then another system says pick 'em. That's based on 4 weeks. Okay? So that show not going to cover.
Okay.
We'll see. But, again, the problem is I got opposites on both sides. The whole season says they're going to cover, and then the last 4 weeks says they're not going to cover. Then with Kansas City and Tennessee, I got Kansas City by 4, 12.5, 8, 2, 2.5, and 4.5.
Okay.
But the last 4 weeks, I got -4 Kansas City, but here you go, -9.5 Kansas City on another system based on the 4 weeks.
Okay.
You got to use now some common sense. You got to look at injuries, like you say, important.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to look at a couple of things. You got to look at where do you think most of the money is going. I'm a true believer. You might not agree with me. A lot of stuff is fixed. I'm telling you.
I don't want to get into this discussion. That makes me not want to spend my time on analyzing a football file.
Yeah, all right, go ahead.
All right, so I'm glad the Wolfman is on the phone wanting to update the NFL file and get picks for this week.
Yeah, okay.
I've had a long day and I got a lot of stuff to do, but we've spent the last almost half hour going over how to update the NFL file, and we're almost there. So at 3 o'clock, there's a Tennessee-Kansas City game. That looks like fun. Vegas really thinks Kansas City's going to win this game at home.
Mm-hmm.
After that, it's Green Bay at San Francisco. I'm updating the file. So the late game is the San Francisco game. The early game is the Kansas City game. After I do that, I go to the season pivot sheet. And I refresh the season pivot sheet, and I have a new thing called championship, which you don't have in your file. But I renamed these games champ. And what it's showing is it really likes Kansas City. It really likes San Francisco. Now, I told you earlier in the call that my gut feeling was I love Green Bay. I think they're a better team. The algorithm throughout the year, it was impressed with Green Bay. Green Bay has a good record. They tend to, for some reason, play well. San Francisco is a very good team, though, right? And then Tennessee has this bionic. He looks like a video game character, Henry, running back that can literally run over a team because he is like the Andre the Giant of football. He's insane. So he's been running over people, and that's causing Tennessee to win. And Tannehill, for some reason, wins games. So looking at what the algorithm straight says at 63% makes me want to do what? It makes me want to look at projected score. Because the thing we did with all the player stuff and injuries affects the projected score. So the popular wisdom does have Kansas City and San Francisco winning heavily. But in reality, I wonder what the projected score says.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing is I'm copying the information from the season pivot sheet, and I am putting it in the current cube. It's actually, what is it?
See, this is something I'm going to have to learn how to do what you're doing now, because I'm not really sure what you're doing. But I'm not in a rush. Like I said, you got to do your thing anyway.
I'm doing it right now. I'm doing it right now. It's got a. Oh no, this is not good. Something's not working right. It thinks it's going to be projected score. No, it's not working right.
You're probably rushing, doing something.
Yeah. This is why it takes me a while to update. What did I do wrong? Could just be there's only 2 games and that screws everything up. Yeah, you know what I want to do is I want to open up damn. How do we do that?
Well, listen, if you're if you're kind of busy, I hate to make you, because again, I'm going to have to sit down with you, like go to the schedule sheet and find exactly where I got to put, copy and paste it, boom, here, and here. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then, that might take a little while. So I'd rather, it's not that important anyway.
In my
right
mind,
now,
I mean,
I don't want to, I figured I'd rather go through exactly where I got to copy and paste stuff from within the program, from outside the program. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
More stuff I could probably figure out. So if you want to, do it at a different time, I got no problem.
I'm
as far
looking.
as I'm over anyway.
So I'm looking over the history of file, not including week 15 and not including the playoffs, which has like week 1 through 14. I'm in the picks sheet. Okay. It's really good. It's a really good question to give me because this is why I was like, how long is this really going to take to update this file? And it's complicated. Like I'm still not getting it right. It's not like a normal week season where there's a different video for the regular season where I could show you what I do week to week. So instead of doing that, let's kind of browse through what we have. And in the picks sheet, I'm looking at the team of reference slicer. It's in yellow on the right in the pick sheet. And I'm going to just click Tennessee and Kansas City, for example, both those teams. I hold down Control, or you can use this little thing in the top right next to the funnel called the multi-select, but you need to clear everything. Anyway, I'm doing Kansas City, and they're playing Tennessee.
Yeah, so if I put, who are you putting first? You want to put in Kansas City first, right?
It doesn't matter. When you click both of them, it's going to give you the history of what this algorithm did with all of those teams this season. And it can also do it by week in order. Also, I'm moving around. I'm opening up something called the field list. If you right click inside, any of that table data there in the pick sheet, and the bottom choice is show field list.
Yeah, where the hell are you now?
Right click anywhere inside of the pick sheet.
Okay.
Right click and it'll say show field list.
Wait a minute. Anywhere right now by accident I only have one file. It's just I put in Tennessee and Indianapolis. That's good.
Yeah, you want to unfilter some stuff. I'm doing some crazy stuff right now. I'm just trying to get an answer. It's a tough question. Like I'm trying to compare these two teams. So I'm like, well, how do I do it when there's only 2 games, for example, in the week? The algorithm's screwing up because it's used to seeing 15 or 16 games or something. So it's comparisons about the best pick of the week or the worst pick of the week, or distorted because there's only 2 games. So I'm trying to look at the data in a way that can give us a meaningful comparative logic here. So I'm just gonna talk you through it as we do it. So Tennessee and Kansas City. Like I just clicked on Tennessee, for example.
Yeah.
And also you can unfilter team of reference, maybe. If you unfilter what's in cell H4, by click
H4
of the pick sheet.
Well, I have, let me see. I think I have 5. I only have the one game shown. I have Tennessee versus Indianapolis.
You got to unfilter something like team of reference. Go over that team of reference filter and click the funnel on the top right.
Okay, now you talk about the team of reference which shows all the teams?
Yep, the slicer thing. Yeah, it's like a yellow slicer. It's got all the team names on it.
Okay, I did that. Now a bunch of more games came in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking at Tennessee's history, and I'm seeing that Tennessee's been freaking hot up through week 14. They look super hot. There's a lot of green next to win by win score percentage in column E. Super green there. It doesn't help us with the spread as much, but it does help us with the winning. And also, it had them against Kansas City, and apparently that they won that game 35-32 in Week 10. Is that right?
Well, let me see. I go to week 10. Yep.
The file predicted the score of that game was going to be 25-25, and Tennessee won that game 35-32. Way back then.
Right.
Now, the projected score thing, I'm flipping over sheets now. I'm going over to the point projection sheet.
Yeah.
And I'm going to just click on Kansas City and Tennessee. And I'm showing that Tennessee can outscore them point-wise. Interesting. Because of Tannehill. Tannehill's as good as Mahomes apparently somehow.
Oh, he's been doing pretty good. Yeah.
Tannehill's actually better than Mahomes in QB rating at that point in week 15 with the stats we had. That's hilarious. And Derrick Henry is a 0.9 over Harrison, but over Travis Kelce. Who's the no running back for Kansas City? What's wrong with Kansas City's running game? It's Damian Williams and LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some logic to the Titans outrunning the Chiefs, and only Mahomes outplaying Tannehill like crazy creates a win for Kansas City. I think I like Tennessee with the points. What is that game?
Yeah.
That is
It's like 7.5. Of what I saw.
That game ends up being, because it's not picked by team of reference. How do I show that? 29, 20, 20, 60. Yeah, sorry, it's under odds. So it's the Titans plus 7.5. Absolutely, I'd bet the farm on the Titans plus 7.5.
Yeah,
That sounds incredible. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
At minus 110, because I would expect the Titans, if they don't somehow win that game, it's super close. How can that game not be? Does Derrick Henry get hurt, and then maybe then you lose that way? So what? Like you can't avoid that. Somebody gets hurt, whatever, it's going to happen. Which is why I don't get too upset about when this thing doesn't work. I look at logic, and logic is saying here that it likes Tennessee plus the points. I think that's a great bet. Great bet. Now let's look at the other game. And I'm going to do that by I'm just glancing. I'm back in the pick sheet real fast. Went back to the pick sheet, and now I clicked on Kansas City, and I see Kansas City was super hot in the last 3 weeks of this. Week 11, 13, and 14, we had them. They beat the Chargers, the Raiders, and the Patriots. But the Patriots kind of sucked, it turns out. So I do like that Tennessee plus the points. I think Tennessee's playing great, and everything's on their side. So even though they're not at home. The other game is I'm back in the slicer on the pick sheet, and I'm going to look at Green Bay versus San Francisco. And first thing I'm going to do is look at just Green Bay and see that Green Bay was hot but lost to the Niners in week 12, apparently. 37-8. Did that really happen?
Yeah, probably.
Wow. And that game was in San Francisco. And that was week 12. Week 12. So they should have been carrying, maybe? I don't know, but you never let down Aaron Rodgers. So let's look at San Francisco, because that scares me a little bit. What else did San Francisco do? San Francisco crushed it, except against the Ravens on week 13, and they lost to the Seahawks 27-24 at home against the Seahawks. Interesting. So they can lose a big game at home, because they did in week 10 to the Seahawks, and it was a high-scoring game. But they crushed the Packers 37-8 when I was predicting them to win 25-22 in the file. That's what it said in week 12. So point projections for those teams. I now went over to the point projection sheet, and I'm clicking on Green Bay and San Francisco. And I have grand totals set up, and it shows that Green Bay's offense is stronger than you think because of why? Because of QB Aaron Rodgers and running back Aaron Jones. Is Aaron Jones like Derrick Henry? See that good?
I think Henry's the monster.
I agree.
He's unbelievable.
But Aaron Jones is the highest scoring player in this algorithm's calculation. He is actually higher than Aaron Rodgers when it comes to contributing to team points, according to this.
Yeah, so you're in the points projections. Now, there's nothing that you copy pasted to here, basically. It's just...
As a matter of fact, this is not even updated. It doesn't have week 15, 16, and 17 and the playoffs in here, so it's old. I'm just going off of old, but when it comes to players 14 weeks worth of data is pretty awesome. So for some reason, it's saying that Aaron Jones is more powerful than Aaron Rodgers, meaning Aaron Jones is really good. Like, I can click on all four of these teams and sort them by player and show you who it likes the most.
Yeah.
I bet you Derrick Henry. Let's do the full comparison by looking at KC and Tennessee. It likes Tannehill the most, then Aaron Jones, then Mahomes, then Derrick Henry. And then it's got my kickers, which are out of whack. My kickers are distorted because they provide more points per player to the game than you think. So that screws it up a little bit, but because then it starts being Harrison Buck. I can remove kickers from this list. I almost want to. I do. I want to. I'm going up to position and I'm removing kickers. Screw kickers. I'll look at them later because it helps for this comparison. So Tannehill's apparently awesome. Aaron Jones is better than Derrick Henry, but they're about the same. I shouldn't say that. They're both 0.9. Oh, Derrick Henry's actually 0.86. But he's awesome. Yeah, I don't know. Either way, the point is that it goes quarterback, running back, and then Aaron Rodgers.
So this is all offense, right?
Well, here's the thing. If you look at the strongest players by team, you see that number 1 is Tennessee, number 4 is Tennessee, number 6 is Tennessee because Mariota can also play if Tannehill gets hurt. Matt Moore is next. Then it's Travis Kelce. This is the first time you get a receiver in there or somebody like Kelce. So the question is like Mahomes, Kelce stronger than Henry Tannehill? And the file says Henry Tannehill is higher up there.
I'd say they're both pretty damn good, you know?
They are, but it's interesting to compare it this way because you start to see where strength is, and it's making me sour. Is it making me sour on Green Bay? I don't know. I think that San Francisco Green Bay is a much tougher game to pick.
Yeah, yep. Now, let me think. Now, when you come up with the projected score, does it take all this into consideration, all these point projections?
It doesn't work right in these weeks with only 2 games. So what we did by looking through the picks sheet history, by just looking at different teams, makes me think, one, San Francisco has an amazing string in what I'm seeing. We went 11-2 on the money line with San Francisco, 10-3 on the spread line with San Francisco. And the last 4 weeks in a row, there was a push. There's a push and 3 wins.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was 2 losses before that. They lost to Arizona, right?
Yeah, I think they did, yeah.
No, it says they won. Wait a minute. They didn't cover the spread, though. Yeah, see, so this is one of those things where we were having a discussion where you were talking about the money line, and in this game, I think the Niners probably win, but I don't know if they cover the spread.
See, my main concern right now also, like I said, I got to know where exactly I have to paste everything in to get all the stats in the right places, where you're getting them from, and then within the program,
yeah,
I got to know.
There's a lot to go over. Yeah.
To another, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot to go. There's also changing the wind strength percentages in the schedule to change things around. It's a
That's my
yeah, it's a long, complicated thing. I mean, we're 20 minutes into this video I'm recording,
yeah.
let alone the phone call, which is 47 minutes already. Um, I have enough information for this weekend. There's a ton of stuff we can go over later,
Yeah.
and into next year. But let's just sum it up because this is super long already. Tennessee plus the points is what, if you do one thing on Sunday, that's what you do, in my opinion. Do you have a different a pick that you like better?
Let me see.
Tennessee
It's
plus 7.5. I would bet the farm and the sheep and the cattle, everything. I think that's a
yeah.
great bet. The only way you lose that is if Henry gets hurt, Tannehill plays like crap, and Mahomes goes berserk, and nobody tries to win a championship playoff game. That's the only way they don't cover 7.5, in my opinion.
I don't trust Green Bay, to be honest with you. I would have to take Frisco, which I think the whole world's taken also.
They're minus 350, so you don't get anything. Do you want to take them minus 7? No, it's a playoff game. Like they're not gonna try to get close. I know San Francisco crushed last week, right? They really ran over, who was it?
Last week, Frisco?
Minnesota. Yeah, Kirk Cousins. I'm from Washington area. Kirk Cousins blows ass.
He sucks.
He gets garbage time points in a dome in Minnesota when people are cold outside.
That's right.
So yeah, he blew it in DC. He had a chance when RG3, like, they cracked RG3's leg in half, and we were left with Kirk Cousins, and he still couldn't do anything here.
Yeah, he sucks.
I think he made a playoff game once. Kirk Cousins is the guy who spikes it when there's a 10-second runoff and can't kick a field goal. He makes those kind of mistakes. He did that once here. Anyway, so yeah, do you agree then? The best pick is Tennessee plus the points?
I think so. I think, yeah, I kind of like that. Yeah, that's a lot of points, you know? I think it could be 7.5. I'm not sure what it is.
I think their strength is, I mean, I'm looking at historically as much as we have in here, and also from watching them upset 2 weeks in a row and how they did it, which is like Derrick Henry is insane. Like Henry would have to get hurt, and Mahomes would have to have an enormous day. You know, Mahomes could get hurt. Mahomes already cracked a dislocated kneecap this year. Like if anyone's going to get hurt, I think it's Mahomes instead of Henry, which makes me all the more scenarios where Tennessee definitely covers at least 7.5 points.
And here's the other thing: Tennessee has a better defense. And I mean, Kansas City the whole season had shit for a defense. They've been playing a lot better the last couple of games, but normally they got no defense at all.
Good point. I went to the pro ref stats sheet, all the way on the right, the pro ref, and I am now clicking on just Tennessee and Kansas City through the filter in the A2 whatever filter. And what it shows with defense, like you said, is that Tennessee's defense was only at a 1.7 back when this was run. I could check it now by clicking that link. They were 9-7. So for those of you thinking about overs and unders, why was Tennessee's offensive rating so crappy at this point? They must have figured something out with Henry. Did Henry just get super hot over the last like 3 or 4 games this season, and then
might have been?
He's definitely done it in the playoffs.
So their defense is 1.7 in Kansas City.
This is old though.
2.9. I don't know about that. Yeah.
This is from the season and doesn't include the playoffs. Whatever. I don't want to dive too much in. This is why you can go down a rabbit hole forever with this stuff.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But
So,
well, why don't we do this then? You know, we don't have to go over this 100. You know, if somehow the next time we speak, I got to know exactly where, like I said before, very important, where we get the stats. You know, where I got to, copy and paste them into, and also from the outside, like on Best or RotoWire, and then I got to know where, within the program, you got to be copying and pasting somewhere.
Yes.
You can't be doing it by hand.
Well, you can do it by hand because when you update it once a week, and then you just update the injury report right before the game. Like I'll probably update the injury report Sunday morning. Right? This is only what day is it? Saturday? No, today's Saturday.
Yeah, right.
So these games are tomorrow. There's nothing wrong with me if I cared, which I do, trust me, I don't. Just because we've been talking for an hour, don't think that I gave a rat's ass about football. I probably won't even watch the games this weekend. I have a million things to do.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. I mean, it's over for me. I mean, I'll probably watch a little bit.
I can't say no to people that like you that care about it and want to learn. I can't help but help you. I love doing that. So,
Right.
but and I also need to know because people freaking ask me all the time, what's the thing saying? I'm like, I've been driving for 18 hours. Like I'm busy. But it's okay. So we'll go over more for next season, but I appreciate the call. But we're good. I'd say Tennessee plus the points. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Right?
All right. Very good then, Ken.
Awesome.